So now we saw how the system operates, how to go into the touchscreen, and how to operate the system. How to go turn on our lights, how to shut off our lights, how to turn on the security system, how to go change the temperature on our thermostat, everything from the touchscreen. Now we're going to look at how to program the system. Because as the installer, this is what you're going to be doing. You're going to be installing the system and programming the basic functions. Of course, there's going to be some other little user functions that the client will do, but the main programming is what the installer has to do. Now, from the main screen, to access programming, we press on the program button. And after we've pressed on the program button, it'll ask us for an access code. On page 15 of the user's guide, you will see that the default programming code is 11111, 5 times number 1. There's two codes that the factory comes default. There's the programming code and there's the installer code, which is 5 times 0. And who are we? Are we the users of the system that we get our information from the user's guide, or are we the installers? We're the installers. So this is the code we're going to use. We simply punch in the code, and once you've punched in your code, this page will appear. This will bring us into a couple of things. Timers for your lights, timers for your appliances, timer for your alarm. Hey, I always forget when I go to bed, because I go to school all day, I leave school, I go to work, and I work till 11 o'clock every night. When I go home, I open that door, and I fall asleep on my way to the bed. You know what, I'd like my alarm system. So you could set this simply. You know what, at midnight every night, if somebody didn't arm the alarm system, arm the system. And the system will alarm automatically. Same way we use timers and lighting to turn lights on and off. Your appliances can be the same thing. I have a contactor controlling the receptacles in the bathroom and on the kitchen counter. That, you know what, when I'm asleep, I don't want it to operate. So it will only operate from certain time to certain time. Yes, ma'am.
Will that cause auto alarm? Will that cause a problem if, let's just say, you've left the window open instead of bypass for it?
It won't arm the system if you left your window open, yes. It's a machine, right? It's a computer. So it's told what to do. But if it encounters a problem, then it won't act. And unfortunately, it will not sound or phone you and tell you, look, I couldn't arm the system. It just won't do it. It's not perfect. Not perfect yet.
Right.
Not this system. There's other systems that are a lot more intelligent than this system. And may be able to phone you and let you know, my cell phone's ringing, alarm system cannot be armed, but not carding. Timer for any heat settings. And we've all seen stuff like that, those programmable thermostats, that's all it is. This is basically timers like we did in lighting. For a light, for a receptacle, and for a security system. On-off functions. Somebody yesterday was telling me, I'm in my bungalow, because we just turned on the system and just to see if everything was working. And every time I ring my doorbell, the touchscreen starts screeching. Who was that? John? Yeah. All right. Well, this is where you go to turn those functions on or off. I really don't like that. I got a touchscreen in my bedroom, and I work nights, so my wife is home during the day. When people come over, I don't want this to wake me up, right? You could turn these functions on and off. Any functions for the logbook. The logbook is for your alarm or all the events that have happened. Alarm clock to wake you up in the morning. This one's pretty cool. Deterrent effect. Remember in the video, we were saying you're not home, but your house looks like it's lived in, and we saw the lights going on and off when you weren't home? This is where you go program it, and you go choose the lights that are going to do it. And it will do it randomly. It'll turn like, doesn't mean that it'll be synchronized, that bedroom light, bathroom light, living room light. No, it'll do everything randomly. Might even open and close the curtain. Everything randomly. So that if a crook looking outside is going to say, I'm not sure these people are not home. This is strange. But the button we were looking for is that configuration button. That's what we need. Because these are functions usually the homeowner, he sets his alarm clock and he'll do the deterrent effect. This is something that the homeowner will do. What we're looking for is this button, the configuration button. We press the configuration button and it'll bring us into configuration. Great? Now, remember when we were asked for a code? Remember the code we were asked for? There was 2 codes. There was a user code and an installer code. If we would have punched in 5 ones, this is what we're going to have access to. Because this is what the client has to have access to. Part of the system. But you're the installer, right? And we're never going to use the 5 ones. We're always going to use the 5 zeros. Why? Because it will give us access to the whole system. Because we don't want to program what type of zones they are. That this is a delay zone, and this is another type of zone. And then the homeowner doesn't even have any clue on what's what. And he starts changing this, and the system will not function anymore. So we'll just give him, they just give the user of the system access to certain stuff. For the installer, well, we need to have access to everything. So this is the code we're using. As you see on the installer's guide, page 7. We have here information for the monitoring station, the types of zones, things that we don't want the homeowner to have access to. Because this is how the system is going to function. They might mess things up and the system won't work properly. If he messed up the name of a light, it's no big deal, right? If the receptacle is supposed to come on and it doesn't come on, it's no big deal. But if he went in and changed the information on the types of zones and the alarm system doesn't work or is not able to report to the monitoring station, this is a problem. And you know how people are, right? They go in and they start pushing all kinds of buttons that they don't know what they are. So this is the page you will have. This is what you're going to see. And as before, when we were learning how to operate the system, well, to program the different lights or receptacles or the different codes, the different keys, the delays, the types of zones, we simply have to press on what we want to program. For example, and the reason I'm starting at the bottom and I'm moving up and then I'll start at the top is because you guys are following along with your manuals and this is how they put them in the manual, so I'm going to follow the manual, how they set it up, not to switch back and forth from manual to manual. I want to configure the types of zones, so I press on zone types. And that will bring me to this page, the zone type page, which you will see on the installer's guide, page 8. Now I will configure what type of zone it is. When I look at the page, I'm seeing all these numbers, from 1 to 16. It's because your panel, as you saw yesterday, has 16 zones in it. I'm going to configure what type of zone it is. Is it going to be a delay zone? Is it going to be an instant delay zone? Is it going to be an interior zone? Right? What do I have here? The front door, I'm going to put a delay. But if this was my windows on the main floor, this will be instant. So this is to define what type of zone it is. How do I do this? I have to highlight it. And it's as simple as that to program. By pressing the arrow, this highlight is going to move to here, then it's going to move here, then it's going to move here, then it's going to move here, 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 one step at a time. And I just have to change what it says. How do I change what it says? For example, I want to make this delay zone an instant zone, because it's delay right now. You see delay is highlighted? I press edit. It goes to my next option, which is instant. I press it again, it goes to my next option, which is probably interior. As simple as that. There's no syncing, there's no set button to press, nothing. As soon as you see the information there, move on to the next one. And it'll remember it like this. As simple as that. Now we saw the arrows to scroll through every single part. We see a double arrow. My double arrow here, you saw when I pushed the first arrow forward, it brought me here, then there, then there. If I press the double arrow, it'll bring me right away to zone 2. It's just so that I can navigate faster. Because if I'm on zone 1 and I want to get to zone 9, I'm going to be pushing this a lot of times. So I'll press this and it'll go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, just to get me there faster. And when I want to change the information, it's as simple as pressing edit. So let me describe what they are. And I'm telling you the word delay, I'm telling you the word instant. What every intrusion alarm system, from company to company, instant follower. Well, what does this mean? I've always installed DSC intrusion alarm systems. But now I'm installing the SECAN system, and they're using this word instant delay, what I never saw before. Every alarm system defines what their zone titles mean. which after the next, on the next slide, that's what I'll be showing. Now, right here, when I press here, I go over here. I'll highlight right here. You see it says normally closed? We learned how to wire a fire alarm, an intrusion alarm system. What choices did we have? Normally open, normally closed, or end of line. An end of line means normally closed with an end of line resistor. This is where I choose. Want to highlight here, normally closed, I press here, it'll go to normally open. I press here, it'll see end of line. The way you would see right here, see this one's on end of line? That means that the system is going to look for an end of line resistor. Simple as that. Next, press the next arrow. 1, I look here, will activate the siren. When this zone is tripped, do you want the siren to be activated, yes or no? Maybe not. What if zone, I would do that for, let's say, the zone 7, which would be the motion detectors in the house. Or a door in the house that, when I fully arm the system, I want it to be on the system, but, you know, when I partially arm the system, I don't want it to be on. Something that, you know, motion detector, whatever it may be. And you know what? I accidentally trip the zone all the time. Do I need the siren to go off? Of course. The monitoring station got the signal, and your phone will ring, and they'll ask you, what's your code? If you can't give them the code, they're going to send the police to your house. But do I need to set off the siren because I forgot that you know, the motion sensors are on? Because there's some houses that, you know how we do partial for the whole house, for the motion sensors? You know, there's some people that might, the basement motion sensors, because they hardly go in the basement, they'll put it on an instant zone. Because they're scared that somebody comes in, breaks the window, walks into the house, in the basement, and they hardly use this basement. What if you needed, I don't know, a jar of pickles one morning, right? Your wife's pregnant, she wants ice cream and pickles, so at 2 o'clock in the morning, you ran down to the basement to go get a jar of pickles, and you forgot that, you know, ooh, the motion sensors are not on partial. They're fully armed on the system. Bang, it goes off. Do you need the siren to go off? No. You go reset your system, and yes, you'll get a phone call from the monitoring station asking for your code. But it wasn't necessary for everybody to wake up in the house. So, for stuff like that. Because of course, like Matt said, yes, I want the siren to go off. It's an alarm system. Of course, you'll put it on all your zones. But certain zones, I might not want this to happen. What about a panic zone? What if, you know, number 11 is a panic zone? Let's call the police because I heard a crook. Do you need to let them know, I saw you, and get them upset? You know, you never know what kind of nutcase broke into your house. He might want to come and hit you with a shovel because you set off the siren. So, I'll call the police, and I'm going to open my bedroom window, and I'm going to leave the house. Let him do what he wants, but the police are coming to get him. So for zones like that, you might not want to activate the siren. Of course, most regular zones, you do want to activate the siren. Yes, Luke?
For when you're programming this, is this all what the client is asking you to do, or it's just like?
Of course, of course. The client's going to decide. Like say, what I just gave the example with the motion sensor in the basement. You don't say this is how it's going to be and that's how it's going. No, the client told you to do that. Of course, certain things like the front door putting in delay, the client doesn't have to ask. He probably doesn't even understand this. You know that.
Okay.
And you will do that. Number 2, when I press again and I go to number 2, can be bypassed. Is this a zone that can be bypassed, yes or no? Front door? No. Cannot be bypassed. Maybe the next one will be the windows on the 2nd floor. A crook actually needs a ladder to put against the building, climb up the 2nd floor, and come in the window. You know what? Fall is here. You know, I like to leave my windows open in the fall. The house smells nice, you got that fresh, crisp smell of the house. Sometimes even in the spring, you know, after that, the winter just went by. I might want to go out at night. I'm going to supper to a friend's house, but you know what? Nobody's going to break in on the 2nd floor. So you know what? I'll leave the windows open. When I arm the system, I bypass the windows and I arm the system. You know, they're usually coming in through a basement window, through your back door or something. I'm not saying they can't come in with a ladder, but it's very rare that somebody's going to put a ladder on your house and climb up the ladder to break into your upstairs window. But it can happen. I have my ladder in the backyard, and I lock it. Because once my ladder disappeared and ended up in the neighbor's house because they robbed his house.
Oh, wow.
It was my ladder. So it can't happen, I'm not saying it can't happen, but usually it's not the case. Any questions? I want to leave the spray, what do I press? Exit, what happens? Go back to the previous page. Now, before we go back to the previous page, I want to explain you the zone types. Delay.